Hello and welcome to the Myths and Miracles of Movement. I'm even moving in my seat. Want to welcome those of you that are here on Zoom and those of you that are over on YouTube, because I know some of my regular followers are now watching on YouTube instead of being part of Zoom. I'll try to monitor the YouTube as well because I have a guest host tonight. This is Sabrina. She is one of my dietetic interns, and she is going to start us off with the presentation. I'm going to pick up the latter half, and we have some great involvement today, so I will try my best to monitor the YouTube channel so I can get the input from people there as well. If you are joining us on Zoom, please note in the chat box there are a bunch of different handouts that you can download that have to do with exercise and movement. And without further ado, Sabrina, it's all yours, and I'm going to hide myself.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm going to do the same while I'm talking here. And Karen, you're going to put up the presentation. Perfect. Okay, so the myths and miracles of movement. As part of our New Year, Healthier You January focus, tonight, as Karen said, we're going to be discussing physical activity and how it goes hand in hand with nutrition. We're going to touch on what working out does for the body exactly and the overall health, as well as some of the misconceptions surrounding eating and exercise. So why are we talking about working out as part of a nutrition focused webinar? Well, to start off 2023, we want to make sure, as Jim Rohn said, that we're taking care of our body because it's the only place we have to live. So in the presentation tonight, I'm going to start off with, if you want to go to the next slide, Karen. First here with the benefits of working out. So some benefits are immediate and others are, it does offer also long-term effects. So some of the benefits that happen right away include improved sleep and mood and lower blood pressure. And it's also shown to have the long-term benefits of lower risk for chronic disease and dementia, supporting a healthy, sustained weight, and also reducing injury risk by improving balance and bone strength. Next slide. So how much exercise classifies a regular workout routine? The CDC suggests that adults get a minimum of 2.5 hours of moderate movement or 75 minutes of vigorous movement each week. Moderate exercises are things like walking, dancing, aerobics, and household chores or yard work. And higher intensity activities would be things like running, walking at an incline or with a heavy backpack, or swimming laps. They also note that these benefits will continue up until 300 minutes a week of activity, and they improve even more if you incorporate strength training by lifting weights or doing some sort of resistance band exercise at least 2 times per week. And when you spread your activity out throughout the week or even throughout the day, it doesn't necessarily, so to get the 2.5 hours a week, you don't necessarily have to do 60-minute workouts or even 30-minute exercises. Even just doing 5 or 10-minute movements throughout your day does have benefits, both short and long term. Next slide. So there are a number of obstacles that life can throw at you to prevent you from staying active or maintaining an exercise routine. Next slide.
Oh, okay.
Do we want to go ahead and ask the question? Do we want to go ahead and?
We still want to ask the question, and I'm looking to see if I can do the whiteboard. I did not test that out beforehand. This is something new. I do not see the whiteboard option, so people are just gonna have to either unmute themselves or plug it into the chat box. So what obstacles are you facing to getting moving more? Like I said, you can do your chat box, you can do it in looking on YouTube as well, which is, I know is a little bit delayed. Put it in your chat box. What are some of the obstacles that you have to getting started with movement? I got one. I'm gonna put it in the chat box and get it going. Anybody else got anything? Pain, absolutely. I think I have tendonitis in my big toe. Talk about trying to exercise with that. The podiatrist said it wasn't arthritis, so it's got to be tendonitis because it's not gout either. All right. There we go. We've got some of our obstacles. What did you come up with, Sabrina?
Well, I know for me personally, being in grad school, making time is always a challenge, as well as I find that here in New York City, gym memberships are super expensive. So that can also be a hindrance. But yeah, injury, motivation, time, access to gym equipment are the most common obstacles that we found. So our list here is right in line with that. And so we did want to address tonight how to overcome these common obstacles. Of course, I think this question here, what have you done or are willing to do to overcome your obstacles, really plays into the motivation struggle. But yeah, should we brainstorm?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I have motivation problems, sometimes what I do is find like an accountability partner. And then I'm responsible to reporting to them how well I've done towards my goals.
Yeah, I think, and also that makes it more fun, which makes you want to do it more as well.
Anybody else? Put it in your chat box, unmute yourself. I'm monitoring YouTube, so you can put it in on YouTube too. Everyone's a little sleepy for the new year. That's all I gotta say. Woof. All right, should we help them out?
Yeah, let's do it. So here we have a list of some ways to help you get started, and I think the most important thing to highlight here is that sometimes our classic definition of physical activity is something super intense at a gym that you have to be in really great shape to do, but that's actually not what we're defining as movement or what the American Heart Association or CDC even does. So some ideas that you can do to stay active are sitting less, whether that's when you're watching TV or working from home, just taking breaks to stand up or kind of move around, dance in place, do some stretching. Keeping a clean house will benefit you both in your home aesthetic as well as burn some calories. As we said, or as Karen said, make it social. That gives you accountability and it keeps it fun. Changing up the different types of exercises you choose will also prevent boredom. In the nicer weather months, the summertime, springtime, getting outside for a walk is a great way to get some fresh air and get in steps. And if you have the opportunity to take stairs, that's also a great way to kind of break up the sitting, whether for TV or whatever it is, like commercial breaks, walking up and down the stairs or going to get the mail, things like that, are a few easier options to kind of get you started. Yeah,
And it's a great way to integrate it into your day without thinking, oh, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta get up and I gotta It's just, all right, I'll take the stairs. And one of the places I work, I'm on the 16th floor. Now, I should have started walking up the 16 flights of stairs at the pandemic, and I probably would have been in better shape. But even you don't have to do all of them. You can even just walk up like 3 flights of stairs and then catch the elevator, or get off the elevator 3 flights ahead. Or if you're here in Manhattan, get off at the subway or bus stop one before where you have to normally get off to get in those extra steps.
Yeah, and another point to all of these ideas is that they're all free. So don't have to worry about the financial.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, so there's no financial burden like there would be with the gym.
Yeah, and there are lots of free classes that you can get on YouTube. I have my bike set up in my apartment and then there's this woman, I think her name is Kaylee Cohen or something like that. And she does free spin classes on YouTube. So and she has also weight training classes there as well. And I have one of my clients who actually does have a personal trainer and they do it via Zoom. So and I have another friend that I collaborate with at Balance Work Yoga and Massage, which you'll see in my newsletters, and he does Zoom classes as well. So there are and his are donation based. So there are ways to get low cost or no cost classes just by using the magic of the internet, something it is good for, as well as this webinar.
Yeah.
All right.
And I don't know, do you want to mention, I don't know if we should mention it now, Karen, but in addition to these, we do have a handout in the chat of 25 ways to get movement into your day while at home.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
And as always, especially if you have a heart condition, especially in lieu of yesterday's tragic event, please make sure you check with your doctor before starting any exercise routine, especially if you have heart conditions or other conditions that might affect exercise, and finding out what the right exercise is for you. All right.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the obstacles that you might experience in getting started and incorporating exercise consistently. And now we kind of wanted to go through a series of true false questions to make sure that your understanding of its association to weight loss is, I guess, realistic, because it's important to make sure that it's important to have realistic expectations to make sure that you turn it into a routine. So first one, true or false, weight loss happens right away.
Put it in the chat box. We've got a new message. We got a false. Anyone else? Another false. I'll take 2 out of the 6. Ooh, sometimes.
Yep.
So sometimes weight loss will happen right away for some people, but for those of us who so desperately want it to happen, it doesn't seem to happen right away. There's so many things that are involved with it, with regards to hormones, current fitness level, how much weight it is that you need to lose. And a lot of it, when I worked at Weight Watchers years ago, when people first started, because healthy weight loss is 1/2 pound to 2 pounds a week, because that's usually sustainable lifestyle changes. But in their first couple of weeks, especially men that were way too heavy, they'd be losing 5-10 pounds a week for like the first 5 or 6 weeks. Women might be losing 3 or 4 pounds, and then all of a sudden they get so discouraged because it trails off to like 1 pound, 1/2 pound. And part of that is because of the water that we have stored with the glycogen. And when we're starting to release a lot of the energy stores that we have, we tend to have a little bit more water weight loss. Or other people, their dietary habits are so bad that when they start a lifestyle change, that there are so many things that are changed. I have a client who had to lose weight because he was pre-diabetic. And they did start him on the metformin, but what he did was stop eating a cake a week. He stopped having a pie a week. And that's a lot of calories, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. So of course, he was dropping like 5-10 pounds for a couple of weeks, because his caloric intake probably went from, on average, 5,000 a day down to on average 2,500 a day, which is enough to lose a pound a day. So there are some changes like that until his body kind of stabilized. But then there are those of us who try and it just doesn't happen right away. And that's where I think looking at the bigger goal, as Sabrina said, of just movement for all the other health benefits is something that we need to keep in mind. All right, back to you, Sabrina. Sorry.
Oh, no problem. Okay. Next one, true or false, once you start losing weight, you'll keep losing it.
Put your answer in the chat box. I know the last one was a trick question. Ooh, we got sometimes caught on. False. Well, I guess we could have put sometimes. That would have been true as well. But the idea is you have to keep working at it. That's why there is the yo-yo dieting. And even once you get to your goal weight, you still have to do things to maintain it. Any other comments there, Sabrina?
Nope, I think kind of you also touched on it in the previous question, but yeah, the weight loss may not be consistent, or sometimes you do have to, once you quote unquote plateau, change either your exercise routine and or diet a little bit to kind of re-kickstart things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, absolutely, MJM. Need lifestyle changes to lose and maintain weight. And I lost those lifestyle changes when I went to grad school. Ugh. And now I'm steady at my weight, but I want to lose some of that weight that I put on. Even happens to those of us who know better. But at least I'm maintaining instead of gaining. So that is a plus too, and keep that in mind.
That is a plus.
So now we've got a little bit about fitness and food, which I think we've already started talking about a little bit. That they're not independent of each other. And we do need to take both things into account for overall health. So here we go, some more true false. Is it a myth or is it true? Exercise can erase poor eating habits. True or false? Myth or true? I would say you're both correct. No, and I'm assuming the F is for false. Instead of some other explicatives that I could think about when I'm talking about eating habits and weight loss. So, right, weight status is 70 to 80% based upon what you eat, and only 20 to 30% determined by working out. So eating is a big part of it, what we choose to put in our mouth. Exercise means I can eat whatever I want. True or false? Myth or true? So what do you think? Exercise means you can eat whatever you want? Were those the falses to that? I'll assume it was 824. Yes, it was. And weight is dependent on calories eaten versus calories burned. There are also things like hormones that come into play, but in general, calories in, and it's also the quality of the calories that you're taking in also make a difference. And having nutrient dense foods can help us sometimes eat less, but feel more satisfied. And most activities do burn less than what you'd think. When which we'll talk to you about in a moment. Oh, absolutely. Whoever said that, meds also mess things up. Absolutely. Depending on what medications you're taking, they can affect your weight with weight loss, weight gain. And you also have issues as we get older, people tend to develop hypothyroidism, which means that they would start burning less calories. And backtracking to something that Sabrina said earlier, let's see if we can get to that. Oh, wait, nope, I don't think we got to it yet. Here we go. This is one, because Sabrina put this presentation together. And I think she did a wonderful job. And this was her next question of physical activity helps maintain and gain muscle and improves weight loss. True or false? Got one true. Another true. I like MGM in 2526. Thank you for your participation. All right. And you're right. That's why men generally lose weight faster than women, or because they have more lean muscle mass just naturally. Yes, bonus points. Email me at Karen@epicurenutrition.net. I'll put that in the chat box and I will send you some coupons. How about that? I'm just getting my new coupons from different companies that partner with dietitians. So I'll send you some coupons. That'll be your bonus points. So I'll put my email address in there. Ooh, wrong one. So send me an email and with your address and I will send you some coupons so I can do that. So back to the lean muscle mass. That's why men tend to lose weight faster than women, is because they have more lean muscle mass. And it's that lean muscle mass that creates the increased metabolism, which then means you're burning more calories without doing anything. And healthy foods best support muscle building and repair, making sure that you get enough protein and enough calories. If you looked on my Facebook page recently, I posted a story about a female bodybuilder who was following the instructions of her personal trainer, her weightlifting coach, and she was having less than 1,000 calories a day with working out 2.5 hours a day. According to the story, she was in a coma at the time, and I do not know what her current status is, but that's where a nutrition professional is really important. All right. All right, so our next question is, how many calories does this activity burn for 30 minutes? All right, ready for the first activity? So we're going to say it is about, we're just going to assume 154-pound person, 150-pound person for 30 minutes. So they're exercising for 30 minutes. How many calories, and you can put your answer in the chat box, would you burn for stretching if you stretched for 30 minutes? Ten calories for 30 minutes. What about walking about 3.5 miles an hour? So that's about walking a mile in a little less than 20 minutes. And I guess in this case, you'd be walking about 1 3/4 miles in 30 minutes. 50 calories we got. Anybody else want to guess? What if you were dancing for a half hour? What kind of dancing? Let's say not slow dancing, but not completely bopping up and down, somewhere in the middle. Got 125. All right. So then my question would be, so if you think that if you were dancing for a half an hour and you burned 125 calories, would you be able to then say, hey, I exercised for a half hour, I'm now going to have a piece of apple pie because I burned enough calories? Figure if you dance for a half hour, ooh, apple pie, too many calories unless it's a forkful. No. Great responses. All right. So here's just a little bit of an idea, and these are just some basic numbers from a study. Actual numbers may vary, the size of the apple, the size of the pie piece, but just to give you an idea of how many calories you burn with the physical activity versus how many calories you take in with some foods. When I was working at Weight Watchers. I had one of the people come in and said, I was so proud of myself. I went to the gym. I was lifting weights. I did a class. So then I was shopping at Whole Foods and I went there and I'm like, oh, there's a piece of pie, a piece of cake. I'm going to get that piece of cake. Ate the piece of cake to treat herself. Knew how many calories she burned for the most part at the gym because she was watching the machine, or, you know, estimated by having a watch on. And then she finished the cake and then she looked at the label on the cake and it was like 500 calories in the piece of cake that she just ate. And she had only burned like maybe 300 calories working out. So she was 200 calories over what she burned. Oh, she read labels from that point on. So I like to think of exercising for the most part as a way to keep you healthy, a way to keep you moving, and a way to increase your lean muscle mass, and less as a way for you to obtain extra calories. I think when we tend to do that, we kind of defeat the purpose, especially if our goal is weight loss or weight maintenance. So keep that in mind, that exercise is for the benefit of moving more and having more energy, improving your health, cardiovascularly, reducing risks of cancer. So look at it more for the health benefits versus the added calories. Any questions? Scared now? Time to train. Sabrina, what did you put in the chat box for them to help them start with their time to train?
Well, before you even get to the gym or get exercising, we have a infographic on finding the best sneakers for you, because as someone mentioned earlier, pain can definitely be inhibitory to wanting to get moving. So it's important to make sure you have the right shoes, that meaning that they're both comfortable and supportive, to prevent any injuries. And also there is,
it was this handout, right?
Yep, exactly, the shoe graphic. Thanks for pulling that up. And then, yeah, we just have some basic tips to just kind of illustrate sort of what we've touched on previously, regarding best practices when you're getting started. I don't know if it'll.
I'm trying to open it. There we go. We've got that one.
Yeah, that kind of, I think, sums up a little, most of what we've been talking about, just as a quick reminder, all in one place.
This was one of my favorite ones that Sabrina found.
Yes, that's mine too. Like we were saying, you don't necessarily have to have a gym membership or an extended amount of time, and for a workout class or a run even, these are just 25 things that you can do at home throughout the day that can range anywhere from 1 to 10 minutes.
And what's funny is these wall sits while reading. I do wall sits while I'm waiting for the elevator or while I'm in the elevator, usually when nobody else is in there with me.
I should try that.
I've done lunges or squats while waiting for the subway.
Yeah. I'm just reading number 5, Hot Lava. I don't think I've ever played that. Like basically like the ground is lava and you have to.
It's been a long time since I played something like that.
You know.
And the standing up and sitting down 10 times is especially a beneficial exercise for older people, to help them. And then one of the other things I do are like wall push-ups. And that's also something that's really important for older people to make sure that I know this is going to sound horribly morbid. So if they happen to fall and can't get up, that they can drag themselves to the phone if they don't have a phone, or towards an open window where they can scream for help or whatever it might be. Even though it sounds silly, I don't even know if I could do a frog jump.
Oh yeah, me either.
All right, so here's my question for everybody. So I'm gonna scroll through this slowly, and everybody on, I'd like you to put in the chat box or unmute yourself and tell us which one of these things you're going to start doing as soon as we hang up. And you'll do it once a day. And not only reading standing up, but watching TV standing up. Can you imagine doing the hokey pokey by yourself? All right, we got someone who's going to run in place. So that's running in place with working up to 30 seconds if you're not at 30 seconds yet. Woohoo! Thing about leg lifts is that you can do them lying down. No one else? We've got one person committing to running in place? Come on. Fran, did you unmute yourself to tell us what you're going to do?
Figure it out.
You're going to do the frog jumps?
No, I wanted to know what the other one was. I never heard of that one.
Which one?
Frog jump. Down the bottom there somewhere.
High knees?
Mountain climbers?
No. Standing mountain climbers for 30 seconds. What is that?
Oh,
Okay, so I guess that would be, it's kind of almost similar to high knees for 30 seconds, wouldn't you think, Sabrina?
yes, but I think they're suggesting you could, if you have like a high top counter or a desk, you can put your hands on that and kind of lean into it, using it as support. So your body-
Okay.
And then you lift your knees up.
Yeah.
I see.
Because a normal mountain climber is that you're down on the ground in like push-up position,
Mhm.
and then you bring your knees up to your chest without raising your butt too much.
I see. Okay.
So which one are you going to commit to, Fran?
Ha. That's a good one.
You can do the arm circles.
Oh, they're easy. They're easy. I
You
think
can-
jumping jacks for 30 seconds.
All right, we got jumping jacks for 30 seconds. 18. I now know who 526 is. She wants you to do 18. Practice spelling. Do a squat for every vowel.
I'm the
That-
world's worst speller, so I wouldn't do that one.
So yeah, so there are some ideas and some things that, you don't even think of as movement or as exercise, but it is. And these are kids' activities, but who cares? To me, a lot of them sound like adult activities anyway, or we should be doing more of them because they're funny. All right, let's finish up this presentation.
You know what? I just had a thought about the sneakers.
Uh-huh.
Because I think for myself, I've always had a very hard time with sneakers. And then you kind of start looking into them and you say, well, I walk, you know, more on the outside. Oh, I must need that support thing. The thing that I think, so for years I was buying the wrong sneakers at quite a hefty price from New Balance. So you go into any one of these running stores and you just say to them, look, I'm not a runner, clearly, but I need a new pair of sneakers. And they watch you walk, like you take off your sneakers, and they watch you walk and they say, you need a neutral sneaker. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know there was a neutral sneaker. So, I mean, really, sometimes if your legs are just hurting, that you really are wearing the wrong shoes, even though they're the most expensive ones you could find to buy. So that's just been my personal experience.
I think you're absolutely right.
I mean, I was mortified to go into a running store saying, clearly, dear, don't get any ideas. I can't run to the corner. But they are very, very helpful, even though they're all very young, very motivated, and they're like, let's give this a little help. So, and then once you have the right sneakers, you're like, wow. Then you know exactly when you need the next pair, when your legs start hurting again. So for years I've been all right, but I long suffered for it.
Well, thank you for the tidbit, as well as everybody else will thank you too. All right, so we're going to end with setting up some SMART goals, which we talk about every January. And there's a handout for that as well in the beginning of the chat box. You want your SMART goals to be specific, measurable, achievable and attainable, relevant and realistic, and timely. And sometimes the achievable, attainable, relevant, and realistic all depends on how much time you give yourself to do something. And I think Fran just gave us a wonderful intro with listen to your body. And we all need to practice some patience in order to be kind to our body and to listen to our body and not exercise too much too fast, because then we're more likely to injure ourselves and then starting from the negative instead of where we are. And as I mentioned, and Sabrina mentioned, using nutrient dense food as fuel instead of always calorically dense food as fuel. Let me open up the goals worksheet so you can see that, which some of you have seen this worksheet before, and here's an example. So specific, losing 15 pounds. Well, it's measurable if you know your starting weight, so then you can figure out what your goal weight is. What makes it attainable is if we do it in 3 months versus 1 month. And is it realistic? Well, if I want to try to go back to 125 pounds, that's really not realistic. Could I do it? Absolutely. Would I be miserable? Absolutely. I wouldn't have the quality of life that I want. So you need to figure out what's realistic and relevant for where you are in your life right now. Drinking 64 ounces of water a day. If you're currently only drinking a cup of water a day and expecting to get to 64 ounces by the end of the week, for most people that might be too much, but maybe increasing by 4 ounces every other day can get you there in a month or less. So that's where I am here for you to help you create these SMART goals. And, and also realizing that we can also adjust them along the way, and that sometimes just because we want it as a goal doesn't mean that it is always attainable. And I think that's where you need to go back to practicing patient and being kind with yourself, because although we want something, sometimes the universe has something else in store for us. but that shouldn't stop us from leading the healthiest life that we can through exercise and eating right. There's my little preach for the day. Oops. A quote. If we could give every individual the right amount of nourishment and exercise, not too little and not too much, we would have found the safest way to health. So it's not no, it's moderation.
Moderation and movement.
And Sabrina, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you for letting me do this and helping me through it.
Oh, my pleasure. And I want to thank our audience, both through Zoom and YouTube, for participating. And I'm here if you need that medical nutrition therapy, if you have diabetes, kidneys issues, heart issues, you just want some lifestyle changes, help with your workout, simply to feel better. We can work on it through meal plans, individual counseling sessions, DNA to optimize your nutrition outcomes. And I also have a new plant-based curriculum that I am offering. And for my regulars, there's a really good price for you. So just reach out. It has some detailed courses, a little bit of testing your knowledge, as well as handouts like we provide you in these monthly webinars. Our next webinar will be the first Tuesday of February, which I believe is also the 3rd. And I look forward to seeing you there, but reach out to me at Karen@epicurenutrition.net if you have any questions between now and then. I wish everybody a happy, healthy, prosperous new year. Be well.
Thank you, and same to you.
Thank you.